So in our first lesson, we're going to be talking about orders of operations, and that is the order in which you perform mathematical operations in an expression. And you may have remembered PEMDAS, or Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally from math, and that PEMDAS is the acronym that we use to remind us of the correct order of operations. So PEMDAS stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, and division, and then the final step is your addition and subtraction. So people often get confused because in the PEMDAS acronym, the multiplication comes before the division, and they want to go all the way through and do all the multiplication. That is not the case. Multiply and divide are inverse operations. They go together. The same as addition and subtraction are inverse operations. They go together. So you will do all the multiplication and division in one step from left to right like you read a book in whatever order it appears. The same with the addition and subtraction. So let's look at number 1 on the 1-1 order of operations worksheet. And let's try to apply our PEMDAS. Well, we have no parentheses to contend with, no exponents. We do, however, have some multiplication and division. And remember, those go together. Many people will do this 3 times 2 first by mistake. No. Multiplication and division are inverse operations, and they go together. You do them in one step from left to right, the same way that you read a book. So the first thing you're going to do is 12 divided by 3 because it comes first in the number sentence. That's 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So the correct answer to that is B for 8. Had you mistakenly done the 3 times 2 first, you would have ended up with 12 divided by 6, which is 2. That is not correct. Because the division was farther to the left, you do it first. So let's look at number 2. 4 minus 1 times 6. The first thing you do is your parentheses. So although inside the parentheses is a subtraction, and we typically will do that after the multiplication and division, because it's in a parentheses, that says, hey, do this first. So 4 minus 1 is 3. And once there's no operations left inside the parentheses anymore, they go away. 3 times 6 is 18. So the correct answer is B. So if you look at number 8, 8 is a little funny. Oftentimes in mathematics we use parentheses. And in PEMDAS, this parentheses order of operations means perform all of the operations that are grouped within a parenthesis. Well, if you notice, the 2 and the 4, those sets of parentheses, there's nothing going on in there. So there's nothing to actually do inside the parentheses. And if you notice, there's no symbol between here. Between the 2 parentheses, that's an understood multiplication. So really, you're going to go all the way down to your multiplication division step first and have 1 plus, what is 2 times 4? 8, and then we'll do our addition and subtraction, 9. So if we look at number, let's just go all the way to the end and look at one of these more difficult ones. How about number 24? No, actually, I'm going to do 25. It has an exponent for us. So let's look at 25. So we have a negative 9. Now ask yourself, is there anything going on in that parenthesis? And there's not. It's just negative 9 being grouped together with itself. Now this other one has two sets of parentheses. And your inner parentheses, there's nothing going on inside of them, is there? However, this set of parentheses definitely has something happening inside. So you have negative 9 plus, what is 2 times negative 5? That's 10. Now after you do the parentheses, and because the negative 10 is isolated inside that parenthesis, there's nothing happening to it, there's no operation, we're done with parentheses and we're to the second step, which is exponents. Well, negative 10 squared is the same as negative 10 times negative 10. Negative 10 times negative 10 is a positive 100, and then that would simplify to 91. Now if you look all the way to the end of this worksheet, we begin to evaluate expressions algebraically, and they are giving us some values to use. So let's look at number 31. So we have P minus R plus Q minus R in parentheses all over 6. And they tell us values for P, for Q, and for R. So what you need to do is substitute those values into the expression. So the P is going to become a negative 6 every time it occurs. If there were more than one P in there, you would put a negative 6 in place of all of them. The Q is a 6. Same with the Q. If there's more than one, replace it every time. And both of those R's will turn into a 5. So that's going to leave us with negative 6 minus 5 plus 6 minus 5. The negative sign was already there, so it'll carry right through all over 6. Now look at PEMDAS. So in PEMDAS it says to do the parentheses first. When you get inside a parentheses, if you have multiple operations inside, you will apply PEMDAS to the parenthesis itself. So we do all the addition and subtraction together in one step. There's no multiplication going on in this parenthesis. So it's negative 5, negative 6 minus, inside the parenthesis, 5 plus 6 is 11, minus 5 is 6, all over 6. So now we have negative 6 minus 6, which is negative 12, all over 6. And when you do that simplification, that becomes negative 2. So the correct answer to 31 is A. Now what I would suggest is that you go online and play some math games, and what you want to search for is PEMDAS games or order of operations. And these games may be as low as 3rd grade level, and that's okay because you begin to learn this early in school. But those small games will give you good practice at this. So I would suggest practicing online with some free math games for those two topics. Good luck.